is Western Mass News on ABC 40.
Welcome, everyone, to Western Mass News on this Monday. I'm Chris Pisano.
And I'm Abby Carnevale. We start tonight with Western Mass News reporter Matt Satilli, now who joins us live in Easthampton with more. Matt?
Well, Abby and Chris, that's right. This City Hall not open just yet. It comes after the town's Board of Health served the mayor a notice and a violation due to ongoing air quality concerns. At that time, the director cited the following issues back on August 2nd inside the building, including excessive heat in the building and lack of ventilation, excessive dust and exposure of employees to HVAC work environment, general concerns on air quality, and the health concerns of employees. The letter also went on to say that several staff working inside the building reported new symptoms, including shortness of breath, headaches, coughs, and aggravated asthma. Since the announcement was made public back on August 2nd, officials tell Western Mass News there is a new HVAC system, and the building will also undergo a deep cleaning later this week. Services that were temporarily relocated because of the building closure are returning to their normal offices today. That includes the mayor's office, DPW, the health department, and building and planning departments. However, some changes are still underway this week. The city clerk is open by appointment only today and tomorrow. The treasurer and payroll will be returning to City Hall on Wednesday. Collections are open today, and the safety complex lobby closed tomorrow, although you can pay via drop box in front of City Hall, and an auditor will be at the safety complex until Thursday. The mayor's office did not immediately return our request for comment in time for this broadcast. For now, reporting live in Easthampton, Matt Satilli, Western Mass News.